welcome to Before You Say Action podcast. It's a podcast for our recent publication called Before You Say Action, the Indie Filmmakers Handbook for Filmmaking. So today we're going to be focused on modus operandi, which means mode of operation, which simply means strategy, approach to whatever you are looking at. And with me are three great producers, great minds, alumni of the Masterclass episode. I think we have somebody from 1.0 and two people from 4.0. Great people, always inspiring me. So beside me is a lady in black. She used to be the cash woman, but today she's like, I don't know, ready to take over the world. This is like Omotunde, Elizabeth, Omojana. I just designed her. Is an amazing writer and producer. And a great mind. If I recently noticed she's an actor too. I see her in a few skits here and there. I'm like, she didn't tell me that one in her first CV. But let's say the hustle is getting real. Adeze Sebastian, amazing person. Member of the Story Writers Hub that we run in Sozo also. And just beside her is recently my PM in my movie, Owambe, and also prolific project manager and producer, Elka alumni and FCWCO alumni, and a Chris Crusader. Mayowa, amazing guy. An actor too, stage and screen. So so they're here to discuss with me modus operandi, which is a strategy. And I like to hit the ground running, like our political mentor will say. Our Lord.
That's a good one. Political mentor.
You know, I need to share this story. I heard it just last week and I was dazed. So they said, somebody in Lagos said that the full meaning of heat, that heat is caused by Tinubu. And I say, why? And I say, heat means His Excellency Ahmed Tinubu.
That is so good.
I was like, God.
That is so good.
How did you think of this? How did you...
It's like saying we have to feel his presence.
Nigerians. So they say he brought the heat.
I'm telling you.
It sounds real. So but let's go. Let's see the ground running. And it's templates. Do templates really help film? When I say templates, I mean, when you've created something that has worked and you keep the structure of the film or the sample of the film and you just keep adjusting a few notes in it. You know how you create a template for budget? And I say, I'm hiring a Omotunde, I take off the name, I put Omotunde, put your address, and put your fees. And I don't tend to look at the other workings and the other terms to see if it fits into what is. I say, I want to hire Daisy to do a project for me. I say, okay, take budget. She takes the budget of living in bondage. She just changes the actor from Kenneth Okonkwo to Regina Daniels. So not looking at whether it fits. Because some films have more exterior than interior, meaning that they need less light. So I personally think that templates are the greatest enemy of creativity. Because if he already has a sample, then why are you creating? I was having night devotion with my kids the other day, and I was talking to them about how God is a creator and God has created us as creatives. I said, so God creates and we create. My last son said to me, God creates and we make. The guy is 5 years old. And when your son tells you what is correct, more correct than what you said, there's this way that you just get humbled. Because he says, so my teacher told me that we only make because God has created, so we use what he has created to now make other things. He was aptly correct. I was saying, bro, man, you are correct. We can only make. But God has created the sample. So all we have had to do is to take the sample but the point is, creatives need to have a fresh start. They start from nothing to something. But we live in an industry where people want to churn out films back to back, and the next thing that can allow you to have that speed is template. So my question now is, how bad and how good can templates be? Start with Mayowa.
I thought it was ladies first.
Ladies first, later.
I would say that, first off, templates, we're people of templates, right? When you were sharing your experience with your child, it just reminded me of how, as little kids, when we were having morning devotion, there's like a series of songs that we'll sing. Nobody has to tell you.
Every hope sang that song.
You get in the morning, early in the morning. The next thing you know is Our Father in heaven. So we all know, like, it's a template, and we grew up to, live by those things without anybody even telling us. Now that has limited our creativity, right? Because, like you said, it makes you just feel like this is the only way this thing can be done. And the people who even started those things, they had to think outside of the box. Like my friend would say, don't just think outside the box, think like the box doesn't even exist.
Wow.
So like that's a wider spectrum if you think about it. So it's like as a creative, I think that template is good for foundation. Yes, it's good to set a foundation. It's good to so we know what we are building on. Because sometimes creatives we're overthinkers. We want to dream the dream and expect God to fund it. But when but when there's a template, we know like, okay, this is how this thing works. But then how can we cheat this to create something better?
Something they say that you need to know the rules to cheat the rules. So
Yeah.
you need to know what the rules are. But what do you have to say, Ada?
Okay, so let's start with the good parts of template, right? It can be less stressful. It makes work easy for you, right? It can be quite efficient. But the thing about templates is that it lacks uniqueness. As a creative, you need the whole world to be your playground. I mean, if I speak of myself, if you tell me, Adeze, I need a story, I need a high school story, and you end it there. Oh my goodness. Chineke, I will give you, I can go to India and come back, go to Kenya, come back, blend it, and give you something that you would love. But the issue is, you may not be able to fund,
what
you
you
know.
get.
But it's not even a bad thing. I should be able to have room to think as far and as wide as I want to as a creative.
Right.
Imagine if I decide now that, okay, Funke Akindele always makes a lot of money with all this, life kind of story, kind of films, some ghetto, a tribe called Judah, money. So me too, I want to go and make my own. And I'm going to maybe employ her producer, I'm going to employ her writer, I'm going to employ her, I'm just taking her people. What do you think they'll give me?
Same
A
template.
replica.
Yeah.
They'll give me a
Yeah.
replica. And people would watch it and be like, oh,
I've seen it before.
take for example, I watched, I'm not going to call the name of the film because I love it, but I mean, when I was watching this South African film, I was like, I could tell the next scene because I'd seen it before in another film. All that changed was the name. On 2 occasions, actually. It was literally, they just lifted, changed, of course, South African actors, changed the name of the film, added 1 or 2 Maggie and salt there, and that was it. It was the same thing. I think that's really bad. I mean, like Mr. Chris said, the greatest enemy of a great film is templates. You can't go wrong when you allow your mind fly. So templates really is good for admin stuff. It's good for admin stuff,
Back.
but not for creative stuff. That's
So my school of thought is, when we say this is a creative business, people think that it's a business about creatives. Or it's a business where every value chain needs creativity.
Yeah.
So what happens is that we creatively create stories. We creatively perform in the stories, creatively interpret the stories. But we don't know that we're supposed to creatively sell the stories. We're supposed to creatively cast for the stories. We're supposed to creatively run the logistics of the stories. For example, we were having a meeting the other day for a film we're about to shoot, and I said to them, since we're shooting on Lagos Island and we're going to most likely be staying in Lekki, why don't we get courier bikes, 2 or 3, to pick up our meals from the house in Lekki and drive to Island so they don't have to be stuck in that Zumbambadiwe traffic all the time. I was like, oh my God. So we all thought about food must be inside a flask, I understand that's how it's done, but you have to look at the peculiarity of your situation.
Yes.
You've got to look at the peculiarity of your situation. And that for me is a creative thing. Even the driver, the person who drives the generator, has to be creative in the film. Because if you're not creative in choosing your path when you're driving, you get to set late and delay the whole shoot. You can see that there's a traffic ahead of you and there's a U-turn. You want to drive to go and see how much traffic is there. By then you can't turn anymore. It's a creative business. Everybody's brain has to be working. The lawyer cannot put terms that will get actors worried. You have to be wise with your choice of words. You cannot come late. You will be deducted. Are we fighting? Say, because of the efficiency of this project, we will not condone lateness, because in that way your work will not look good, neither will our work look good. I said the same thing.
Right.
I said, you shall not, but you now do not, capital letter NLT, bold.
10 commandments.
10 commandments. People will feel like, I don't think I need this vibe, but let me just stay on my own. So everybody needs to be, even the way money is paid. You pay an actor before they come on set. There's an excitement they come on set. They're not worried about on the economy where people don't pay people. Those little things. There's this thing I will let now where we give actors gift boxes, say welcome to the set, print the script, put their name on it. Those things just have a way of making them feel special. So, talking about that, let's talk about more places where creativity can be brought into the film process outside those things we call creative department. You know, where the writing, creative directing, apart from those things, in producing, creative producing.
Okay, so when we look at production, like the process itself, we kind of feel like, oh, it's a stamped thing. But sometimes when I'm talking with my production team, I try to make them understand that everything that we're doing, all your effort is supposed to culminate to the picture. Do you understand? So I learned this thing. There was something that happened, like there was a project I did 2 weeks apart, and both of them were one location, one night stories. Both of them, one location, one night stories, but they were different. One was like a carves outside, one was like 90% exterior. The other was 100% interior, and they were all one night. And I remember I was tempted to, we just shot exterior. I just carry that in, just duplicate. But I took a minute because I was under a lot of pressure. I took a minute and I said, what does this project particularly need? Because it's 100% interior, and the EP got the place, that's the house that we're using, was from a friend. So it's not like it was paid for. So there was a way she was talking to me about the house, that please, when you come in, mop the feet. So I knew that the house was dear to her. She didn't want to break the relationship. Right. So approaches had to be different. In sending contracts to the actors, like in your contract, they need to know that they are shooting night scenes. There's a way we can just put it generally and say, you're shooting, be there, whatever, the end. But they also need to be prepped, acknowledge that we're shooting night scenes. What do we now need for night scenes? We need coffee, we need drinks. At some point, energy will be low. So there's a need to really sit down and think, what does my picture need as a production person? So for the interior scenes, there was no need to get like security per se, because we're basically indoors. But for the other one that we're shooting exterior, we needed to be getting mopole, we needed to get like security with us, because we're shooting, call time was from 7 till 6 the following morning. Do you get? So you need to look at things and look at your processes, what will work for your crew. People, if they find it harder to sleep during the day. So you need to find a way to make things, okay, if we're having a full day off, let's have a full day off because we've been shooting all night. So you need to look at your processes and really think about, what does your picture need? I think once you approach it from that, it makes it easier.
Want to say something more?
Yeah,
I think we should stay more on this because it's really important.
So I feel like one space or two spaces that producers haven't been able, or filmmakers haven't, in my opinion, creatively harnessed would be people management and then marketing of the film, PR of the film, right? So for people management, for example, you go on sets and you hear how people speak to people. So it's not what you say or how you say it. You're trying to pass the same message, but you can look for a creative way to tell that person the same thing, and the person would even go over and beyond. You could look for a creative way to have certain people on set. So, for example, I was on a project where we had like 20 young ladies shooting, and they were to shoot all night. And and then it was a case where at some point they got bored because we weren't using them. So we had games on set. So whenever they were bored, we put them somewhere and then they'll be playing games. And then we had people come gist with them. We come up with different topics just to keep them busy, because by the time they have like a downtime and you want them on set like in the next few minutes, they can't come on set with sleepy eyes. So you have to find a way to keep them awake. And it's not coffee.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's a creative thing as a creative producer to know that, okay, how do I keep these people active, right? And then that's one thing, one side of it, how you manage
people.
I like the game thing, because I just went through that and we didn't have that creative idea.
Exactly.
Okay, with sleepy eyes, angry sleepy eyes.
So you just have to find a way to, manage these people. We had some little issues that could have been managed. Okay, yes, there was this one where a head of department asked somebody, "Are you mad?" And in his head, it's like, it's a question. And I'm looking at him like,
That's not a question.
yeah,
that's an
okay,
insult.
fine.
This
Because
is
the person he
Nigeria,
was
I mean,
speaking to is a Yoruba man.
Oh,
Was-
You can't ask a Yoruba man,
Double
"Are you
insult.
mad?" And you're telling him it's a question. "Oh, guy, in my village is not a question."
Insult.
So you can ask him that, "Are you mad?" in a creative way that he would answer you. Like they'll say, you look for a way to tell somebody to go to hell and they'll look forward to
You
it.
might do it to help.
So that's one side of it. Another side of it is like when we're marketing this content when they're out. It seems like there's just one template that everybody is using. Once we don't
Lazy.
print the shirts like this, bam,
Lazy.
your film is everywhere.
Lazy.
I think that there are other ways that we can explore to do the same thing. Yeah.
In my own opinion, I keep saying that, I'm really excited about parenthood. Maybe I don't know why I am, but I just feel like, so I have three sons, and when I hear people say you love your children equally, I think that's dumb.
Mm.
I'll tell you why I think it's dumb, because it takes a personality connection to be able to have affection or whatever it is we have. And if I'm someone that likes my me time, and I have a very loud child who likes to encroach my me time, I don't hate the child, but I won't like the child like the other. I won't like him in the way I would like the one that understands my me time and gives me
Right.
my space.
Right.
That doesn't mean I hate him, but I will look forward to this other guy to hang out with me for the holiday, because that one understands when daddy wants to have his me time. This other guy might be maybe extroverted or ambiverted or whatever it is he is that makes him do whatever he does. All I need to now do is to understand how my temperament can parent that kind of temperament.
Or you look for something to engage
To
him.
engage him. So now I need to know where he is and where I am to be able to know what to do. Now bring it to filmmaking and creative business. I think that when an idea hits our head, we run off to execute the idea without engaging with the idea long enough to know how to also deliver the idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going to a shop where they're selling food and just taking the food from the serving dish without the servers, without the plates.
Yeah.
That's what it feels. So the idea is the chicken. The chicken is yummy, and you grab it and you run off. You've paid for it. But if you could put that thing in a plate and then put your serviette and put your spoon, that can help you consume it well. Not because that's not what will make it tasty. That one you grab was still tasty too. But how do you eat it? You're gonna make a mess of yourself. So this idea you have seen that you like, stay there and follow through the process. So I've thought about an idea. A Nigerian president becomes the president of America in a film. Wow. How do I deliver this idea into a story? Which scriptwriter understands political stories enough to help me? This is still in my ideation stage.
Mm-hmm.
Which director understands American economy and politics and Nigerian economy and Nigerian politics to be able to help this writer grow into this thing? I was in church today yesterday, and my pastor was preaching about somebody who died recently in Nigeria, and I got this beautiful, crazy idea. Voice note to Uche. Uche, that girl's brain would have busted by now. I hope she's okay, because I've sent her so many ideas. And she can say, Mr. Chris, lovely story. Now, she said, what do we do next? I said, hang on. My mind now is in who understands that world.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a spiritual person. I'm praying for God to lead me. Fast forward, the man is about to be buried. I call a friend of mine. She says, I'm working on the man's documentary for his burial. Not connected to him, but inspired by his life. And because she has understood his life, she'll be able to tell me what it is. So what am I trying to say is, it's not enough to get a creative product or idea from this land beyond. But to also understand that the process is creative and you need to engage enough. You need to know that the way you raise a living in bondage idea into a film is different from the way I use the word raise because I'm comparing it to children. It's different from the way you raise a rattlesnake idea. In this book, I was trying to compare. Now, I just finished Rattlesnake, Living in Bondage, and it was a success. I was about to do Rattlesnake. Both Igbo films, both remakes, okay, so the remakes part, I'm going to explain. Both remakes and both from the same production company. But Rattlesnake was not Living in Bondage wasn't a remake. It was a sequel.
Yeah.
People named it a remake. And because sometimes we lose consciousness when we're on a journey, we began to believe the lies that people were saying. But Living in Body was a sequel, so the person in the old one could appear in the new one. Rattlesnake wasn't a remake, so the person in the old one couldn't appear. Because the moment you bring that person, you destroy the world, the world. So people started attacking us and saying that why did you bring back the old guys who played the Amadas in the old one? But they didn't even bother to ask what we're trying to make. So we had to be sure about our strategy, that it was inspired by this last story, but it's not the same with the last story.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Nigga. So I Can Popo became a sequel.
Yeah.
But people do not understand. So this is, and the way you market a sequel is you emphasize, so we have to post the old film for people to go and watch to excite them about this new one. But what to not do the same thing for artistic marketing, but that's not the way it works. Because when you close the old one, people are not expecting to see those people in this new one, so they were not disappointed. But when they came to the cinema, they saw they were now fatter and bigger. They were like, it's not the Aka Popo I know, these are the beams I used to see around. But people grow. But we marketed wrongly, so it affected. So I'm just saying that what you said is very true, what you guys have said. But I think creatives need to stay long enough with the creative idea till the creative process becomes clear enough.
Right.
Then you cannot have a creative product. I thought this was a small topic, but apparently it's deeper than what I thought. But honestly, I think it's an eye-opener. It's an eye-opener for people to go thinking. But I think if this is what they can take from this podcast, we've done well. Thank you guys for coming along. I really appreciate this conversation. And I hope we're able to get this book to more people to read and understand what we're trying to say and make Nigerian film industry a better place. Before you say action, it's out there. Go on chrisode.com and then click on the link and buy a book, or check in any bookstore close to you, or Amazon or Seller, I think. However, we're recording this beautiful podcast in our beautiful studio at the house by Numero. Hey, the house is enough. All right, so, and by the way, we're recording this beautiful podcast in the studio of the house, somewhere in Lekki. You can Google it, the House Studios. Thank you very much, and God bless you.